Yeah, I mean, obviously a number of reasons. Anytime you're out here in West Texas and it's football season and you got the Red Raiders playing, it's a big deal to this community and this region. But this particular team, a lot of experience, a lot of veteran leadership. They've grown up through some ups and downs, and it's made them stronger. It's made them a stronger group, brought this team together, and I like what I've seen all summer. So I expect a team that's kind of been galvanized over the last few years, and will come out, play hard, and represent this university the way we want it to be represented.
Would you say there's a particular group that's stronger for you going into camp that you're looking at and going, well, I'm really going to rely on this position group to lead this team? Yeah,
I mean, I think both lines, you look at the returners we have back on both lines, you basically have everybody back and really the two deep back, which that's a good starting point for any football team. And we haven't had that since I've been here, that much depth coming into a season with that much experience. So I'm excited about those two groups.
Hey, Coach. When we talked earlier this summer, you mentioned just finishing games, something that was a problem last season, could be the key to this year. What are some of the things that you and the staff have done this offseason to improve that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to simulate any type of game situations. Obviously, during the off-season, that would be closing things out, making kicks at the end. But, you know, we talk about it. You talk about finish. You show them clips of how to finish and make every drill a finish segment where it's just overly emphasized. And I think that's all you can really do. Had a lot of young guys go through some tough losses last year and hopefully learn from those situations. And when they're in them again, they can draw from that experience and hopefully get it done this year.
And then with the current recruiting class, 16 commits, 14 this summer. I mean, obviously you can't mention the individuals, but a lot of success this summer. You mentioned kind of the timing being different, but can you kind of mention some of the things maybe y'all are doing to have so much success on the recruiting trail this class?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's a defensive heavy class, or it will be towards the end, and I think having that staff in place a number of years has helped them. I think this brought stability for Coach Gibbs being here going in his 4th year, and I think recruits see that and parents see that, and the success he's had and how he's trying to build it the right way. I think that's been a big part defensively.
Plan on taking a full class?
We do. We think we'll get to that 25 number, if not somewhere really close to it.
When talking to one of your local recruits, they said the reason they came here is because they were, at your summer camp, they were recognized. What is that, you know, is it surprised you why some kids decide to come here opposed to others, maybe?
Yeah, I think you never know what's going to impact a young man and make that decision. You try to get to know him on a personal level as best you can and do all the right things, say all the right things, but you never know what's really going to touch them or touch their family and be kind of the final nail that sends them your way. So sometimes it's as simple as recognizing them when maybe they went to a mega camp somewhere and didn't get much attention.
Coach, a lot of new faces on your coaching staff. What kind of dynamic have they maybe changed going out through the spring, and what do you think they're going to bring come this fall camp?
I think it's good. Anytime you have turnover, there's new energy, there's new ways of doing things. They bring different processes of different places they've been around that can always help and improve the way you're doing something. So that's been great. I think they have great attitudes. They're excited to be here. They want to be here more than anything, and the players feel that and recruits feel that as well.
Coach, back to recruiting for you. How important is it to keep these West Texas athletes here in West Texas and playing for Texas Tech?
Yeah, that's a big deal. It's a good class this year of players in this region. I think you see it throughout the country, how recruiting's become de-regionalized, if you will, because of social media, and they see more videos and it feels closer going out of state than it ever did. But we'd like to keep those players here. It's an important part of this program. It's an important part of this community and this culture in West Texas, and so we do everything we can to keep those guys here.
Coach, can we talk about the quarterback competition? What are you looking for in your starting quarterback as you're getting ready for that?
Yeah, I think, you know, who first and foremost, with all our offensive line back, the running backs back, we got to be able to protect the ball, make smart decisions, eliminate negative plays, and then lead the team. And we'll see who does that. You know, it's a three-man race. We should go about 2 weeks, have 2 scrimmages, and then be able to hopefully narrow it down and go from there. But I like what they did all summer. All 3 worked really hard, have gotten dramatically better at the process and the operation of our offense, and now it's about just going out kind of under pressure and executing day in and day out.
Do you anticipate publicly naming a starter before the first game?
We'll see. I haven't in the past. You know, I just want to make sure I'm right on that deal before you come out and say it. So I'd like to be as thorough as I can through camp, and it may be, you know, at kickoff that y'all know the same time that everybody else does. But we'll see kind of how it goes and who separates themselves.
And do you think there's a leader in the clubhouse right now amongst the team, not necessarily not naming anybody, but do you think there's somebody that has already kind of gone to the forefront and the other 2 are chasing him?
Yeah, I don't know amongst the team. I think they like all 3. I think they're all excited to see how it plays out as well. They're usually the first to know, even before the coaches, kind of who has the team's attention. But the feedback I've gotten is they like all 3, and they know all 3 are very talented.
Kliff, following up on the quarterbacks, these next couple of weeks, how are you going to kind of break down the practice reps to get each of those 3 guys involved? And will one guy get more one day and one guy the next, or how is it going to work?
It'll be fairly equal every day. I think with 3 guys, one guy, when he's going to start the day off, will probably get 5 more than the others. But other than that, they'll just rotate through equally to start.
How do you plan to handle guys like Zach Alston and Eli Howard over this next month with them coming back from injury and being banged up and whatnot?
Yeah, be smart. They're both veteran. You know, Zach's going into his 6th year, has been in this offense every year we've been here, knows it inside and out. So make sure that he's healthy and feels good going into week 1. He'll know what to do. And Eli, a lot of the same way. He didn't do much in the spring, so we got to get him some good live football reps. But he's a guy who knows the defense inside and out. He's going to play hard. He's going to be strong and physical, and we got to make sure he's feeling great on game day.
You had a new player on the roster this week, Adrian Cross, if I remember right. How did you locate him, and is he a scholarship player or a walk-on?
Yeah, he's a scholarship player, a late addition junior college player. He came to our camp that we had here this past weekend, and we worked him out, and so he'll be with the squad this year.
He's eligible to play right away, right? Yep.
Coach, I know it's different every single year, but is this as similar to the 2013 quarterback race, and can you take anything from what you did that time around into this camp?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a part of a few as a coach, and you know, you just want to give everybody the best opportunity possible to be successful. And some guys are slow starters, some guys come on strong at the end. So, like I said earlier, I don't ever want to announce it too soon or get ahead of myself. So I try to keep an open mind, try to lay it all out, get as much information as possible, and make a decision. But like I said, the positive thing about this and what's similar to 13 is, you know, you got 3 really good players. It's just who separates themselves.
Coach, with Allen specifically, what does he come in and showed you as a freshman so quickly that's even allowed him to be in the quarterback competition?
Yeah, just comfortability in the offense. You know, he's a confident young man, played in a similar system, so he picked it up quick. Still, you know, he's a true freshman, so he's going to have his mistakes, but he bounces back. He doesn't make the same mistake twice, and he competes his tail off when he's out there. And I think his teammates saw that, and I know the coaches saw that as well.
What's your relationship with Kevin Johns been like since he's come in here?
It's been really good. He's a guy who is a calm voice for our offense. He does a lot of things with the motivational side, schematics. You know, he's just been a very positive energy coming into our program. New approach, sees it from a different angle than maybe I've seen it in the past, and so couldn't be more pleased with what he's brought.
Coach, preseason poll came out today on USA Today. 5 Big 12 teams in that top 25. So talk about that gauntlet you're about to go through for your conference again this year.
Yeah, it's pretty much every year it looks like that. Play everybody, and it's basically a rivalry each and every week, and we know that. So it's going to be a huge challenge. Like I said, I'm excited to have guys who've been through several Big 12 seasons now and have that experience, and hopefully that'll help us out.
You last year, and I feel like I have to ask this year, sexual assault and domestic violence still a big narrative within college football. How do you educate not only your players but coaches to be more proactive than reactive when those situations occur?
Yeah, our athletic department has done a really good job over the last few years of making that very important to the student athletes. We have in our summer bridge with incoming freshmen mandatory training when they get here. We try to have at least 3 speakers come in throughout the year just to keep it at the forefront and keep talking about it, show incidents around the country to make sure it's constantly on their minds, and they try and educate them to the best of your ability.
Coach, you spent a lot of time on defense last year just mingling and observing. Do you think that you'll do that as much this year, or will that change because of the youth of your offense and the strength of your defense?
Yeah, I think more than anything, to start, I won't be over there as much, figuring out this quarterback situation and making sure that I give them my full attention and coach them to the best of my ability. But I'll still be involved and do what I can to be a help to those guys.
With regard to game day, and you may not know this yet, but will Coach Johns be more involved in the play calling than Coach Morris was, or how do you see that going down?
I think it'll be similar. As of now, we plan to have him in the box, and we share information and try to come up with the best play each and every snap. So it'll be a similar role as far as that goes.
Right now, you'll call every play, though?
Yes.
Kliff, you've said before, obviously, that in the Big 12 games final scores are not 14-7 these days or anymore. But with all the experience and talent that you have back on your defense, what's kind of a realistic or reasonable goal or expectation for how many kind of points on a week-to-week basis they can hold the opposition to, especially considering they kind of need to carry the weight with the offense kind of getting its legs under them?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the offense can continue to score, at a good rate. That remains to be seen, but I don't have a number. The scores have gone down in the Big 12 recently. Teams are playing a little different style of defense. The game's slowing down a bit, so whatever it takes to win, that's all we talk about with those guys. We don't try to put a number on it. There's no expectation. It's just whatever it takes to get the job done.
Can you also tell me a little bit about some of the graduate transfers, guys like Preston Gordon and Seth Collins, what you expect them to bring to the team and how comfortable you have gotten with the graduate transfer concept or idea?
Yeah, I think you got to be selective and make sure it fits. They got to make sure it fits them, and you got to make sure it fits your program. And with both those guys having graduated, having tons of playing experience, we felt good about it. They've come in, worked really hard this summer, fit in well. I'm excited to see them out there practice for the first time, but they provide instant depth, and hopefully they're the impact players we think that they can be.
Coach, with as much turnover as you've had at the coaching staff, how do you balance kind of letting them kind of do their own thing versus kind of keeping a little bit of what you've done for the past couple of years?
Yeah, I think the good part about that is when you have Coach Gibbs going in his 4th year, I mean, he has his system in place and the way he does things in place, and so he'll work with those defensive guys to get them where he wants them. And then offensively, we're going to have some new ideas and some new thoughts with Coach Johns, but we're going to do what we do as well. So I think that helps stabilize. Having kind of the coordinators, the play callers in place helps kind of keep it rolling in the right direction.
Hey, Coach, at least on paper, the bye week this season seems to be at least at a better place later in the season. Do you see it that way, and what kind of advantage could that be?
Yeah, I think so. I guess it was after week 1 last year. or maybe the year before. But I think it falls about midway, which is usually when you probably need it. You can rest up and take a look at things, do some self-scout, reevaluate where you're at, and then try to finish strong. And so I think it could be a positive.
Beautiful indoor. They've had these facilities, some of these facilities for a while. What effects have you seen with recruiting and then also just with the team?
Yeah, the functionality first and foremost has been great. Just having it all December, it's cold outside, but in the past they didn't have a place to really work out, and they're in here throwing and running and doing foot ladder, and so the functionality and the use has been huge for our current roster. And then recruits, when they come, it's as fine a facility as they're going to see anywhere in the country, and so they're loving that as well.
I know you can't give too much away, but I have to ask about uniforms for the fans. Any throwbacks or any new uniforms you can kind of preview for this upcoming season?
Yeah, we'll have a throwback similar to what we did, and maybe something else, but I haven't really finalized it. Zane is kind of looking through that right now, but we'll definitely have a throwback.
Coach, how eager do you think Clayton Hatfield is to get out there kind of after how the kicking game went last year?
Yeah, I know he's fired up to feel healthy and do what he does. He had a great spring. He's worked his tail off again, which he has since he's been in this program. Kicks all the time on his own. I'm a huge fan of his and excited to see what he can do this senior year. Last year he knows wasn't indicative of who he is or what he can do, and we all feel the same way in our program. So I know he's really excited to get out there.
Coach, the SEC has traditionally started their conference earlier, so they have moved one of their non-conference games to later in the season. I know the schedule's set for a while for Tech. Are you open to moving a conference game earlier in the year to move a non-conference game to the middle, to the second half of the season?
Yeah, I mean, when I was at A&M, we had that, and it didn't really affect us one way or another, in my opinion. So I know that's how they do it. We play straight through our conference schedule. I don't know if I really have an opinion on that.
And with John's joining your staff, he's coming from a more running attack as he's coached the offense. Obviously, Texas Tech is known for passing the ball. With your experienced offensive line and your running back group, do you anticipate running the football a lot more this year than we have seen in the past, especially with the questions at quarterback and wide receiver?
We'd like to be able to. I think that's when this offense has been its most effective, is when we can really run the ball and lean on those guys. And so we're going to do what we can do to run the ball better, and if we can, we'll keep doing that. If we can't, we'll find ways to throw it and do other things.
Coach, in terms of Trey King, I guess what's the next step he can take for the offense, and just what have you seen from him this year?
Yeah, he's got to stay healthy. I think that's his deal. He's got to be able to finish games, be durable, be able to carry it 15, 20 times. And last year, he just wasn't able to finish enough games, and that's a big part of playing that position.
And is it to get to Marcus and DeLeon, and what have you seen from DeLeon, just obviously with all the adversity he had off the field and kind of getting back on the field now for him?
Yeah, he's reinvigorated. I think he appreciates now what he almost lost, and he works towards that. He's been working really hard in the weight room, running really well, handling his business in school, and he's a really talented running back when he's focused and he's handling his business. And so we're excited about him. DeMarcus has been in our system. He's had big games here at Texas Tech, and we know what he can do as well. So to have three guys with that type of experience that we can lean on should really help our quarterbacks.
Hey, Coach. This past week, Kirby kind of made some waves on Twitter talking about responding to a fan about a potential Texas Tech A&M matchup sometime in the future. Any thoughts on that? Would you like to see that?
I mean, that's a fun game for our fan base, for their fan base, but looking at it, our schedules are set for about the next 10 years, so I don't know when that would become available.
Random question. We had a big concert announcement. I know you're a big rocker. Are you looking forward to Metallica in Lubbock?
Yeah, I saw that. The tickets are fairly expensive, so hopefully I can afford them at that point.
Kliff, back on the running backs for just a moment. Even though you have some guys whose resumes are kind of similar in terms of experience and production. Are you wanting to see one of those guys step forward and kind of establish himself and be the guy, or are you more comfortable with the committee?
Yeah, I think you want one guy to be the bell cow at that position. I think that's when guys get comfortable. They kind of get in a zone and get on a roll, and your offense feels good when one guy is plugging along. But we do a bunch with two-back sets, and so we're going to need really all 5 of those guys to be healthy and be ready to go. But you'd like to get the majority of touches to one guy, and then have those other guys spell them and still be able to come in and be effective.
Coach, a lot of discussion at wide receiver. Could you talk about why the concern is really unfounded, that you've got a lot of faith and hope and thoughts on that?
Yeah, you look at the history of this program, and anytime everybody's thought we lost every wide receiver we had, somebody steps up, and people want to come play wide receiver here at Texas Tech. They have for the last decade, and so it's not that there's a lack of talent. We just had 4 guys graduate that are all in NFL camps right now, and so these guys are waiting their time, and they have an opportunity now to show what they can do. But I feel great about the depth we have, the experience we have coming back, and I'm excited to watch that group.
And that would 2 of those guys be more specifically T.J. Vasher and Antoine Wesley, right?
Yeah, those 2 guys. TJ has grown up a lot since last year. He's obviously got the physical attributes you want, and then Antoine has played a little bit of everywhere, backed up some really good players, and now he's getting his chance as well. You got Jaden High, who's a 6-year senior and started games for us. Zach Austin started games for us. So there's a bunch of guys who have played a lot of football around here.
I was just going to ask you one last thing, Coach. It seems like there's been some cautious and optimisticness from you and your staff that you don't necessarily we've seen in the past, specifically with the question at quarterback. Is that because of the strength of the entire team and kind of feel like that you've got some depth that you maybe haven't had before?
Yeah, I think so. I think whoever it's going to be is going to have veteran players around him and talented group around him, and we feel confident in what we do offensively and how we can support those guys in our play calling and how we design it for them to be successful. And that's what we kind of do here, is try to put those quarterbacks in a position to be successful, and they have the talent to do it. We just got to get them coached up.
Hey, Coach, to kind of piggyback on the receiver talk, we talked earlier in the summer about some of the freshmen coming in. You expect probably to play early. How have they looked so far in summer workouts, at least, like Eric Ezekama, Keyshawn, and then Myler, of course, in spring? How have they looked?
Yeah, they're very athletic. I think that won't be a question. The physicality of it, can they play based on their athleticism? No question. It's just picking it up, learning the system, being able to come in and us count on them to be where they should be and do what they should do each and every play. But I like what I've seen. Very explosive group, talented, show you everything you want in a wide receiver. It's just about the mental aspect of things now.